Mr. Balloonigan. That's for you, Mr. Balloonigan. Got you on tape.
You look great, Jim.
Thanks. I'm in whatever. I can't even improv a funny answer. Good job. Vacation ruined me.
We do have an announcement to make for everybody, Jim.
Yes, we do. We have terrible news if you are a SiriusXM stockholder, but great news if you're a Jim and Sam fan. We have resigned. I forgot the hyphen.
There's a hyphen.
Re-signed. Yes, we have re-signed with SiriusXM.
3 more years of Jim and Sam? Well, I'll be. I was thinking maybe December would be the last month of these two on SiriusXM. They could do their own thing online, be free of the language restrictions unique to satellite radio, and Sirius would maybe get to save a few bucks they could then throw at some other talentless zilch to keep their company afloat. But hey, I'm never afraid to admit when I'm wrong. If a successful, competent company like SiriusXM is willing to sign these two to a 3-year contract, effectively making Jim and Sam's official run together a 10-year affair, there must be something to this show. So in the spirit of fairness, I decided to listen to all 10 hours of Jim and Sam's first week back, hoping to glean what I may have missed in my initial assessment of the show. It was an eye-opening experience. So let me tell you all about what you can come to expect for the next 3 years of entertainment from Norton and Roberts. January 3rd was their first day back, so they made sure to pull out all the stops. Because let's be honest, you can't come back for your first show of the new year and just recap the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé.
It was like a new... Before the 90 days.
Before the 90 days.
Yeah.
And I know that Usman's in it.
They think it's bad for Usman's image that he keeps bringing old white women to Africa.
It's so great. He can't stop fucking old ladies.
I did see the scene. I think it was last night's episode where one of his friends goes like, we can't have them there. They're holding hands. Another old woman.
Yeah, not good for his image. He should get a green card.
Or maybe that's exactly what you want to do. What do I know? I'm not the president and chief content officer of SiriusXM. I'm no Scott Greenstein.
Scott Greenstein, to this day, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I know we're good these days, but go fuck yourself. That's what I say.
At least it's a popular show, though. It's something modern, something people care about. It's not like Norton spent an hour talking about a show his co-hosts never seen, like, I don't know, fucking Columbo. That would be ridiculous.
I've been on a Columbo deep dive. For some reason, I found a station that has Columbo on it all the time. I can't stop watching Columbo.
What's it on, Tubi?
I forget the name of the channel. It's just on.
So
Sorry to bother you, Sam.
Is it a cable channel?
Yes, but the Columbo, I was just so pleased to find a Columbo marathon. The ones that were 2 hours were a little long, though. They stretched a little bit.
There were 2-hour episodes of Columbo?
With commercials, yeah. A little much.
It's longer than movies should be.
Yeah, I know.
Oof. 0 for 3 so far. They didn't even bother getting a guest for their first episode back, which is hilarious because this is the only episode of their first week back in which both Jim and Sam are in studio, because later that same day, Jimmy tested positive for a disease I can't say on this website without getting demonetized, so we'll refer to it as the other disease Norton's been known to test positive for.
Guess who came down positive with
AIDS?
I went home, I got another instant test. It also came out negative. So I have 2 negative instant tests, and then the PCR test came out positive. So here we are.
But you don't, feel bad?
No, I feel fine.
That's wild.
I feel fine, yeah.
Just like HIV super spreader Gino Bisconti, Norton came down with a bad case of the Robert Reeds at the least opportune time imaginable, forcing the remainder of the week's broadcast to take place over Zoom, which we all know makes for compelling, easy-to-listen-to radio.
When I got, I think it was Anarchist Superstar by Marilyn Manson, and I was like, this is the coolest album of all time. Somebody was like, bro, have you skipped track 99 yet? And you play it, and you're like, oh.
Sorry, Sam. Antichrist Superstar. You had me freaked out for a second. Antichrist.
Yeah, I think it's Antichrist Superstar.
You said Anarchist.
Did I?
Day 2 also came and went without a guest, so we were treated to even more talk about 90 Day Butt-Fucking Fiancé.
Yeah. You think that little Russian dwarf from 90 Day Fiancé ever accidentally rolled over some shit?
Yeah, I do.
Troy, you think definitely as well?
Yeah, she's so short that her vag probably ran through some shit.
Oh, wow, that's awful.
If I were a terrible person, I'd force you to suffer through it all like I had to. But unlike Jim and Sam, I'm gonna try my best to keep you from falling asleep. So instead, here's just the first couple of seconds of that broadcast that really illustrates one of the biggest problems with the Jim and Sam show.
Well, well, well. Good morning. Does that sound scratchy?
Yeah, the mic sounds scratchy and your voice sounds scratchy.
Yeah, my voice feels a little scratchy, but the mic sounds, once again, scratchy.
Yeah, the mic's scratchy. Actually sounds like maybe it's something in the cables.
This is a professional radio show, and Norton can't be bothered to set up his mic just a couple minutes before the show starts. I've said a lot of shit about Sam, and I stand by it, but at least he's willing to put some effort into the show. It doesn't make what he says entertaining, but you could tell he's trying. Norton, on the other hand, just shows up for the paycheck. He takes prep, but he doesn't do any show prep, to the point of not even doing a mic check before they go live. Meanwhile, every behind-the-scenes employee sits at home with their thumbs up their asses trying hard to justify that job. What's the point of employing so many goddamn people if you can't even get the audio right on your fucking radio show? I see a surprising amount of people defending Sam whenever I make one of these videos, and I'm finally starting to understand it. If the Jim and Sam show is your first exposure to Norton, I could understand why you'd like and maybe even prefer Sam over Jim, who has seemingly run out of jokes and decided he's more adequately equipped to act as the show's whole.
So I'm looking around and I'm going, fuck. I go, my car got stolen, dude. My car got fucking stolen. And I'm walking and I'm like, nah, Paul, your car couldn't have got stolen. So why don't you walk down a couple of other lanes? Maybe it's another Toyota. So I'm walking, nothing. I'm hitting the button on my key, fucking nothing.
I mean, maybe this is why they're leaning so heavily into the visual component of the show, so Nana Norton doesn't have to bother talking and can instead just sit there with a concerned look on his face during stories like these. And by the way, I didn't edit that video. Someone really thought zooming in on Jim's face added to the show's entertainment value. I'm sure someone worked really hard to get that neato moving background going for these Zoom shows, but I will never understand why people as hard to look at as Opie Anthony, Jim, and Sam feel the need to cram a face cam into everything they do. So Paul Verzi's appearance aside, Colin, Quinn, and Rich Voss were the other guests invited on the show for that week, which in my eyes is a step in the right direction, but through no fault of his own, Colin Quinn's appearance was so uneventful it's not even worth mentioning, which is a truly impressive feat to run a show so unlistenable that even an appearance from a national treasure like Colin Quinn can't save it. Voss's appearance wasn't much better, hinging entirely on a visual bit at the expense of the tiny room Bonnie forces Voss to live out of.
Is this your bedroom that we're in? Is this your bedroom that we're in?
Yeah. This is my.
Oh my God! It's like a messy child's room.
I mean, Jim, can you imagine, like, in the 6th decade of your life, living in this little kid's dorm room?
No, little hats. Is that hats and stuff hanging up on the thing?
My daughter keeps telling her friends that my parents are getting divorced.
Yes, the fact that Voss's room is virtually indistinguishable from a 14-year-old Hispanic boy's is objectively hilarious, but there's something particularly annoying about the way Voss is invited on time after time to be a punching bag for Sam. Rich is Norton's friend, so them shitting on each other feels natural, but when Sam's doing it, there's this weird power imbalance where Voss isn't close enough to Sam to truly tear into him, so he just takes it, and it's one unfunny dig after the other.
You guys are,
You almost lost your nicotine gum there.
Yeah, you saw that, didn't you? I tried to be slick.
Yeah. yeah. Almost tumbled right out of there, didn't it? If we could make sure we get a video clip of that. I don't know if you saw it,
I would love
Jim.
to see that.
It was not slick. It was very much outside of Rich's mouth, and he had to slide it back in with the old index finger.
For some reason, it feels like Sam's supposed to be the funny one, while Norton's there to steer the ship and play Abbott to Sam's Costello. But in what fucking world is Jim Norton the most qualified in the room to play the straight man? How is it that this show has been going on for so many fucking years and there's still no clear direction? Just listen to Voss desperately searching for a way to compliment these two incompetents at the end of his interview.
That was so funny. But I think it went well for Zoom. Yep. I'm glad that you asked me to do it because, it just... whatever. I love to hear your wisdom. I love Sam's wisdom and Norton's quickery.
And Sirius wants 3 more years of this. It's just one bad decision after the next over at that company. Who cares if anyone's listening to Jim and Sam? We got nothing else. And while we're at it, let's sign the least funny couple in comedy to an exclusive deal on our platform. I'm sure that'll stop our company from hemorrhaging money year after year. It's not like the business model is outdated. At this point, people are more willing to pay monthly for their entertainment with services like Patreon and Spotify than ever before. The problem isn't the value proposition of a subscription-based service, it's the fact that Sirius doesn't offer any better entertainment than what you can already find online. I mean, sure, Jim and Sam signed a contract for the next 3 years, but is Sirius even going to be around in 2025? They're just barely holding on by the thread of Stern's soy sauce-colored wig. In hindsight, I would hope Jim and Sam realize 3 years of less pay than they were asking for the sake of job security is a pretty goddamn stupid deal to make. For a while, I considered the possibility that all this speculation around their contract was a ploy by Sam in a very WWE-like manner to drum up interest for this abysmal shit show most people have forgotten about by now. But after seeing just how quickly Sam tried to cash out on Cameo nearing the end of their previous contract, I really think they were planning on ending their final show with a fucking in-studio gift exchange while Norton watched on from the comfort of his couch at home.
I got Jim some Kiss underwear.
Oh!
And some Kiss socks.
On Kiss
Oh,
underwear?
those are great.
Yes. You can
Can
wear
you
those.
put them up to the camera so I can really see them?
At this point, it's almost like I put in more effort into my videos shitting on their radio show than they do producing it. I could talk endlessly about just how unlistenable this show has become, play even more clips from their first week back to demonstrate just how desperate they are to stretch nothing into 2.5 hours of banality. But I've already listened to 10 hours too many of these two. I think you get the picture by now. They have nothing to say. They have no incentive to put on a better show, and even when Colin, Quinn, and Voss are on, the show fails to capture even a tenth of what made O&A such a great show, and at this point is actively hurting their careers more than helping. Something Norton understood when he was doing a show with Opie, but refuses to acknowledge or accept now that he's hitched his wagon to Little Scorch over here.
Dude, it hurt my stand-up business, that show. And I know some people didn't like my stand-up, but I watched my draw even drop in a lot of cases. And I think a couple of things is people weren't listening to our show in the morning like they were to Opie and Anthony, obviously. And I think people just didn't associate it or associate me with something they were enjoying anymore. It reminded them of something they weren't enjoying in the morning. It reminded them of something that used to be great and was no longer great.
I'm not here to say I told you so, but I fucking told you so. Every point I made in the first Jim and Sam video still stands and was only further validated by this first week back. The show's not funny, it's not insightful, there's nothing unique or worthwhile about it. The best description I've heard of the Jim and Sam show? It's words for the sake of words. But if you can't tell by my catalog of videos endlessly bitching about things that don't matter, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I like to search for the silver lining in every cloud. And with the Jim and Sam show, the silver lining is this. I've got 3 more years of awful radio to make fun of. Thanks for making me money, Jim and Sam. Here's hoping you never improve.